So remember, we're talking about big and little. And I was going to talk to you this morning about this little guy. This is a mosquito. Now, mosquitoes are insects. They have 3 body parts and 6 legs. And that long thing that they get your blood with, and they drink nectar from flowers, that's called a proboscis. So that very long part that sticks out up there, right here, is called a proboscis. Now, mosquitoes are pests. And pests, it means that they are buzzing around you all the time, and they're not good insects. They cause disease, and they make you itch, and they're just yucky. They're pests, kind of like a fly is a pest. So they do the same thing. There's lots of them. They buzz around, and they bite, and they just aren't good, cause disease. But they're kind of not like a fly because they don't look very much like a fly. They're small, but they don't have those transparent wings, do they? They do have the 6 legs and the 3 body parts, but a little bit different. Now, the mosquito is one of the characters in our story. And our story is called The Song of the Teeny Tiny Mosquito. The author is Alma Floreda, and the illustrations are by Vivi Esriva. Esriva. I hope I'm saying that right. But anyway, so the very first character that our mosquito meets is a frog. Uh-oh. You know what frogs eat, right? Frogs eat insects, and a mosquito is an insect. And look, you know frogs use their long tongue, their sticky tongue, to get that mosquito. And he looks like he is kind of hungry, huh? I was noticing these music notes. Do you think that means the mosquito may be singing a little song? Well, it does say the song of the teeny tiny mosquito. So what do you predict? Do you predict that this frog is going to eat that mosquito? Let's find out. The Song of the Teeny Tiny Mosquito by Alma Floreda. At the crack of dawn, perched on a log, a mosquito came into view of a frog. The frog, with a howdy, hi-ho, opened his mouth and took a quick gulp. Bye-bye, teeny tiny mosquito. Did you predict that was going to happen? Uh-oh. Oh, see the music notes? Not thinking for a minute he'd done anything wrong. The frog patted his stomach and he burst into song. But his bogmate shouted not a single bravissimo, for instead of deep bass notes, they heard other sounds, the buzzes and squeaks of a teeny tiny mosquito. So boy, he was all happy. He was singing. But the other animals in the bog and the swamp, they heard the sounds of the mosquito crying. Oh boy. Uh-oh. By mid-morning, the frog had only one wish, not to be eaten by a hungry fish. This was the frog, as I'm sure you know, who at the crack of dawn had gulped down a teeny tiny mosquito. Did you see that happening? So our next character was a fish, and the fish ate the frog. Not thinking for a minute she'd done anything wrong, the fish raised her fin and she burst into song. But her seafaring friend shouted not a single bravissimo, for instead of high fish notes, they heard other sounds, the buzzes and squeaks of a teeny tiny mosquito. So they didn't give her any bravissimos. They didn't say, yay, good job, because they could hear that mosquito. So far, the mosquito was eaten by the frog. The frog was eaten by the fish. What do you think is going to happen next? A duck. With the clock chiming noon, the fish had bad luck. She landed kerplunk in the jaws of a duck. This was the fish, as I'm sure you know, who at mid-morning had eaten the frog, who at the crack of dawn had gulped down a teeny tiny mosquito. Not thinking for a minute he'd done anything wrong, the duck opened his bill and he burst into song. But his feathered friend shouted not a single bravissimo, for instead of loud quack quacks, they heard other sounds, the buzzes and squeaks of a teeny tiny mosquito. Oh no, so we've had a mosquito, a frog, a fish, and a duck. What could possibly be next? Oh my, a crocodile. When dusk came, the duck's life had a change in style. How different things looked in a crocodile. This was the duck, as I'm sure you know, who at noon had eaten the fish, who at mid-morning had eaten the frog, who at the crack of dawn had gulped down a teeny tiny mosquito. Not thinking for a minute she'd done anything wrong, the croc raised her snout and she burst into song. But her thick-skinned friend shouted not a single bravissimo, for instead of low croc notes, they heard other sounds, the buzzes and squeaks of a teeny tiny mosquito. Oh my goodness, what is going to happen now? Everything shone brightly by the light of the moon as it hung in the sky above the lagoon. With a pain in her belly, the croc was soon struck, so badly, in fact, she coughed up a duck. This was the duck, as I'm sure you know, who at noon had eaten the fish, who at mid-morning had eaten the frog, who at the crack of dawn had gulped down a teeny tiny mosquito. The stars came out before anyone spoke. In a short while the duck awoke. His stomach ached and he was feverish. To the surprise of his friends, he coughed up a fish. This was the fish, as I'm sure you know, who at mid-morning had eaten the frog, who at the crack of dawn had gulped down a teeny tiny mosquito. What do you think is going to happen next? Can you predict? The crocodile coughed up the duck. The duck coughed up the fish. Do you know what's going to happen? On that starry night, without a trace of fog, the fish squirmed in pain and coughed up a frog. This was the frog, as I'm sure you know, who at the crack of dawn had gulped down a teeny tiny mosquito. The frog opened his mouth, a gigantic affair, and the happy mosquito took off to the air. Many buzzes and squeaks and a howdy hi-ho with a bye-bye froggy thrown in as the teeny tiny mosquito shot into the sky on his merry way, buzzing and squeaking to this very day. And ear-splitting shouts of bravissimo are heard after each song of the teeny tiny mosquito. Wow, isn't that a fun story? Oh, and there she is. There's our author, Alma what was it? Alma, it doesn't tell us. Oh, and I really love her a lot. Alma Fleur Ada. I always say it wrong, so I'm always scared to say it. But wow, did you notice anything about the animals? On your assignment, I would like for you to put the animals from smallest to largest and number them starting with the smallest. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, did you notice they got bigger and bigger? Check it out. Pretty fun.